Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to our webinar entitled Driving Automation in Financial Services with Artificial Intelligence. My name is Roslan, and I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. Before we proceed further, a few of our house rules that we wanted to make it clear and clarify with the audience. The audience will be kept in mute during the webinar by default, so you no need to worry about muting or unmuting your audio. And during the question and answer session, you may type your question in the Q&A chat box. If you're asking a question, please remember to introduce your name and company as well. For example, I am Stephen from XYZ company. This is to allow us to reply to you personally in the event we run out of time during the webinar to pick up your questions. The agenda for today will be shared by our speakers. How artificial intelligence is transforming banking operations, that will be shared by Mr. Chong Eng Kok. Cognitive data captured by Mr. Sunny Leung, and solving the problem of paper in your process through intelligent automation, be addressed by Mr. Sunny Leung, and Q&A. Submit your question, and again, submit your question in the Q&A chat box or email to marketing@infopro.com.my, and we'll pick it up from there and respond to you directly. Now, before we proceed further, let me introduce you our speaker for today, Mr. Chong Eng Kok, who is the Chief Digital Officer in INFOPRO. He is a technology innovation advocate who specializes in technology enablement, digital transformation, and innovation across the financial industries. He works with both incumbents and new challenger banks in the strategic proposition and digitalization. Our next speaker is Mr. Sunny Leung, Business Development Manager with Kofax. He is based in Hong Kong. He is a seasonal business and technical consultant with an extensive knowledge of various technology. He also drives projects that help banks to modernize their legacy workflows and improve their business and operational efficiency. As technological disruption continues to accelerate, the usage of artificial intelligence across different industries has become increasingly crucial. This, of course, applies to the financial service industries too, as it is crucial for banks to adopt this technology at scale to stay ahead of the curve. However, the success of deploying artificial intelligence automation across the organizations requires a thorough planning and concrete roadmap. Not to mention that this transformation should also be executed throughout the multiple layers of the organizations. Due to its complexity, many banks still lack a clear strategy of AI implementation, as they still operate on legacy systems that limit the technology adoptions. The following webinar serves as a guide that can help financial institution leaders to develop a clear vision in becoming an AI-first bank. Now, without further ado, we invite Mr. Chong Eng Kok to share his thoughts in driving automation in financial service. EK?
Okay, thank you, Roslan. Let me put up my slides. Just give me a moment. Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes, EK, we can see you clearly.
Okay. Okay, very good morning or very good afternoon to those who are in a different time zone. Okay, thank you, Roslan. I'm very grateful for having all the banking professionals here today with us. Thank you for your support today. My name is Eng Kok, or you can call me EK. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of INFOPRO. Together, we will explore how AI is transforming banking operations. Okay, and how we can assist you in your digital transformation journey at the different maturity levels. Okay, do not hesitate to contact us after the events for further discussions. Okay. Before we begin, I would like to introduce you to INFOPRO. We help banks and financial institutions to transform from legacies to the modern banking ecosystems. Our latest AI-driven digital banking platform, by the name of Synergy, is built on the next generation banking architecture, where we are specialized in 4 product verticals that encompasses core banking, digital customer experience, risk and compliance, and lastly, the AI and analytics So let's see how we can actually put all these elements together under the AI-driven digital banking platforms to benefit the banking operations. Okay. We have a strong presence in Asia Pacific with 100+ customers across 32 countries. We are looking forward to expand our customers list as well as onboarding more partners and resellers globally. We welcome all the technologies and reseller partners to actually connect to us, okay, to actually go to market together. Now, INFOPRO has been named as the best Islamic financial software providers by Islamic Finance News, and also best core banking solution provider by Fintech Futures in UK. Okay. For our existing customers who are running on ICBA, we are proud to announce the readiness of our next generation core banking Synergy systems. Synergy will be your future roadmap for the next upgrade milestones. Okay, our account managers will get in touch with you to discuss, to plan ahead how we can help you to upgrade to these new digital banking platforms. Okay, now as the technology evolves, we continue to spend heavily on the R&D investment. Okay, so we invested heavily into the enterprise banking engineering to actually relook into the process optimization and re-engineering all the actual workflows and processes within our systems. And we're also looking into the optimizing the customer experience through the hyper-personalization and customer-centric design and creating more customer digital frontiers. We also use the cloud technologies, okay, for the scalability and also for the actually continuous deliveries, okay, where we actually using the CI/CDs and DevOps within the cloud ecosystems. And however, it's not only running on clouds, our system can run on both clouds and also on-premise, okay, leveraging on the same sets of tools, okay. Last but not least, we actually spend heavily onto the AI. We have actually invented and created our own AI innovation labs, okay, with our in-house data scientists who partners with the industry's data scientist leaders, top leaderships, okay, where we actually specialize in banking and build a banking specific AI models to implement and embed within our applications. Now, this is a complete view of Synergy. So it is the AI-driven digital banking platforms that and its business functionalities. The entire system is pre-integrated, but is yet modular and composable to address different business requirements. All the business functions are built on the platform, which comes with AI, data analytics, cloud, open API, and beyond banking capabilities. Okay, this enables you to benefit from emerging technologies and future banking models. Okay, that's about our companies, and let's look into today's topic. Today, we would like to share our experience and also the global trends in the AI as well as automations adoptions in the financial services industries. Okay. Based on the top strategic technology trends 2023, just recently released by Gartner last week. Okay. Interestingly, we saw that 3 out of 10 of the technology trends are focusing on AI. Okay, that being number 2, number 3, and number 8. Okay, number 2 is where you apply the data analysis to provide a cognitive decisioning, okay, to assist you to provide a robo advisory or recommendations for many of the decision making. Number 3 is where AI in the space of trust, risk, and security management that will provide a proper AI model governance to ensure that you implement and deploy AI in a proper manner. And number 8 is actually looking into the adaptive AI. This means that how AI can continuous learning from the additional data that be infused into the systems and platforms. so that it can provide a better and improved response or decisioning based on the additional data that captures from time to time. Okay, in a study from IDCs, it says in the Asia Pacific, the spending on artificial intelligence will double from 2022 to 2026. In the span of 4 years, the spending will actually rising from $20 billion to around $46.6 billion. This is a massive amount of investment in both hardware, software, and talents. So banks are actually putting a lot of emphasis on how to making benefits from the artificial intelligence. As for now, the technologies has become more matured, so it is more easily to implement and adopt AI within the banking operations. Okay, so these are the common benefits and driving factors for why banking and financial institutions are actually adopting the AI. Okay, number one being be able to improve the customer experience. This is looking into the hyper personalizations and also to provide maybe an instant response to the customers and be able to actually provide a right recommendation at the right time. Okay, and throughput time reduction is something that bank is looking into improving their productivity and lowering down their cost. Okay, of course, the last two items are just to reduce their cost and manpower savings. So these are the immediate benefits for many of the automations, regardless whether it is AI or non-AI based. So these are typical 4 main reasons driving the AI adoptions in the financial sector. According to McKinsey, okay, the automations and artificial intelligence in financial services, okay, are largely implemented in the forms of robotic process automations, where 36% of them are actually implemented as RPA. Okay, RPA is just actually a repetitive rule-based engines that actually helping you to automate certain workflows and repetitive tasks. Okay, it is not really a real AI per se, but with the technology involvement, robotics have emerged into the intelligent process automation, which I will talk about it slightly later in the next slides. 32% of the implementation are liars in as a form of a chatbots or the voice bots, which helps to actually provide the customer service to interactions to the customers. And this is mainly because the technology is most matured among other AI technologies and more easier to implement as a ready to deploy a standalone application. Okay, that's why it received a lot of actually interest from the FSI industries. Next is where machine learning play a very important part in the adoptions in fraud, underwriting, risk management, and many other areas. Okay, and with the actually involvement in the machine learnings and many of the tools in the markets, there are more and more implementations and it becomes more easier to implement, and we were actually expecting the adoptions of the machine learning will rise from the 25% to somewhere higher in the future. Okay, so in the typical artificial intelligence projects, there are 2 main factors that we are looking at. One being artificial intelligence components and technologies. So what are the AI technologies that can be used to provide what sort of benefits to the banks? And secondly is the automation of process adoptions part. How do we blend this artificial intelligence into the actual actions? Okay, how do we make it work for the bank? Okay, so typically when it comes to artificial intelligence, we mainly using these 3 technologies. Okay, so you saw machine learning that I mentioned just now, where this is a techniques that actually do a thorough study of the data and provides some analysis to be able to provide some prescriptive and predictive analysis, and being able to actually provide some recommendations or the decisions based on the data outcome. Okay, Okay, computer vision is another technologies whereby it's able to actually process the image, okay, to understand the image and differentiate the image, okay, and driving certain understanding from the image. Okay, the last part is the natural language processing. Okay, this is part that in the layman is to understand the human language. Okay, this allows you to be able to perform sentiment analysis, to be able to do a contextual analysis so that you will be able to understand the context and respond to it accordingly, which can't be done by a typical rule-based systems over the past. Okay, when coming into the implementations, the very first thing come into mind is actually the robotic process automations. As what I mentioned earlier, 36% of the implementations are actually moving into RPA, which is to automate the rule-based repetitive tasks and workflows. Okay, take for instance, Wells Fargo's, they roll out 300 plus RPA within 2 years. Okay, that is the enterprise-wide RPA strategy where they actually encourage all the employees across different branches, across different business lines, business units, okay, to actually recommend, okay, or uncover the new process to optimize, and they will bring in this RPA in the forms of maybe automations with the use of automation tools such as UiPath or maybe Automation Anywhere or Blue Prisms to help them to automate many of the processes. So some of the common processes that being very successfully implemented in banking, not restricted in actually servicing customers, but actually it could be within the internal operational processes. Okay, it can be a payroll process, it can be a robot reports automation process, which maybe it can consolidate multiple sources of data to produce a consolidated reports from different systems and things like that. Okay. Moving to the next steps is to add the intelligence into the robotic process automations. So that forms the intelligence process automation. So over the past, as I mentioned, RPA is not able to diagnose and understand the contextual and also the past historical data and make a human-alike decisions. But with the IPA, you may able to augment the human processes more effectively with the IPA. So this is becoming more popular nowadays, where you actually can build in the cognitive intelligence within the RPA. The last part is the embedded AI. In the markets today, many vendors already pre-built their application with the AI optimization. This make it handy and make it easier for the banks or financial institutions to implement a platform or solution that already pre-optimized with AI. So comparing with robotic process automation and intelligence process automation with the embedded AI, these are the two different approaches where RPA and IPA is focusing on looking into the custom existing processes, manual workflows and manual processes, and in the heterogeneous environments, that how they can actually optimize, automate the processes with minimal interruption and enhancement on the existing legacy systems. Where an embedded AI is where the efficiency came along with the new application that adopted by the banks that already comes with the AI capabilities. Okay, so I will share a little bit more on some of the use cases for AI adoptions in the financial institutions, where majority of them are actually based on the embedded AI. Okay, so banks have to actually have a strong visions on how they would like to actually gear up and implement their AI and automations in a more structured way, rather than you just implement in a very piecemeal and disorganized matter. Okay, that's where you have to establish an enterprise AI automation strategy. So best is you have a best place to actually host all your AI related machine learning or natural language processing models in one place, and to fill up to support different applications or different business units that via an API connections to your these AI services. Okay, I'll come to that slightly later. So let's come into some of the case studies. Okay, commonly I think nowadays due to the pandemics, okay, it accelerates the digital transformations. One of the most obvious improvement that we see from banking is in the areas of the remote customer eKYC onboarding. Now, these technologies allows banks to onboard the customer without having the customers to come to the branch. Without physical contacts with the branch and the bank's employee, the customer can actually log into the website or to the this mobile application to perform self-onboarding with the technologies such as these facial recognitions, human liveness tests, as well as document ID proving. So this enables the seamless customer experience in the customer onboarding journey. Okay, next, another major breakthrough in the technology is in the evolvement from the OCR to the cognitive data capture. Okay, OCR is where optical character recognition, where it can blindly read a document, a scanned document into systems, okay, but without knowing the actual meanings of the data. Okay, where cognitive data capture is where it is actually intelligence enough to actually being able to recognize contextual of the documents or the contents. Okay, take for instance, in this case, our income statements recognitions, it is able to recognize different type of income statement layout and being able to actually also recognize the meanings of the data, whether the amount, the value is in the number of thousands or number of millions or what. Okay, based on all the presentations of the documents. Okay, now this will effectively help you to improve the turnaround times and improve your productivity. So you do not need to actually invest heavily on the human manual entry process, where converting from a labor-intensive human entry process to a system, this cognitive data captures inflows, document uploads. This will give you a 10 or 20 times of productivity gain and also save you the actual labor costs in the actual manual processing. Okay, next, I'm sharing with you on the personalizations case study by UOB. Okay, UOB is actually invested heavily into this building the hyper personalizations customer experience through their Meaty Insights mobile apps in their UOB banks. Okay, but not only that, they also implement this in the Tomorrow banks in Thailand and Indonesia. Okay, with the actually Smart Insights, okay, it comes together with 300 plus standard insights that already previewed by the platforms. And on top of the platforms, UOB actually customized and built another 100 plus insights, okay, developed internally with the personal financial management Smart Insight solutions. So the results is where they increase 4 times of the customer engagements. 2 out of 3 of the new customers are referrals from the existing customers. Over 1 in 4 customers perform at least 4 transactions over the 30 days. And they increase 50% click-through rates on the presented insights. So these are very significant quantitative measurements objective that they have already achieved. Okay. Next is anti-money laundering. Okay. Banks are heavily fined for serious shortcomings in anti-money laundering compliance. Okay. Take for instance, ABN AMRO was fined 574 million in 2021. Imagine this figure is even higher than many of the payout capitals of the mid-sized, small and medium enterprise in the markets today. Okay, hence banks are very careful in the compliance. what happens is they actually uses the AI-powered AML platforms, okay, with the use of machine learning to optimize their existing rule-based detection engines. So what the AI does, it helps in two areas. Number one is to actually be able to actually differentiate a suspicious transaction, whether it's a high likelihood or low likelihood. This helps them to classify the suspicious logs into different categories and for to improve the efficiency in the compliance processing. And next is to be able to identify any suspicious transaction which may have been missed by the typical rule-based detection engines. So with the intelligence, it's able to actually detect any new patterns that may likely to be a suspicious transactions. This in return converts into higher accuracies and higher productivities to the bank and ensures compliance at most of the time. Okay. Next, the AI-powered credit decision engines. Okay, commonly banks are getting credit reports from credit bureau and also using a manual scorecard for credit evaluations. That is the typical way to actually when it comes to the credit assessments and approval process. Having more data points would strengthen the bank's credit risk management capability. Hence, many banks have started to build an AI model credit scorecard, which using their existing data to actually complement their scoring. So whatever they have they collected for over the past 3 to 5 years is very, very meaningful that it will be able to actually help them to actually analyze and compare the customers' demographics against a new applicants. And this will help them to actually prevent a data loss, prevent a credit loss to a new applicants who do not have any previous data or credit history with the banks or with the credit bureau. Okay, but not only that, it also improves the accuracies or be able to actually predict the probabilities of defaults of these persons. Of course, some of the fintechs already actually start using alternative credit scorings to actually improve the ability to actually score a person's. Okay, so when it comes to an enterprise credit decision engine, the most important part is to consolidate multiple scorecards for the ultimate decisions, to collect data from as many data sources, as many scorecards that you can have, and consolidate it into an ultimate robot advisories or recommendations to a human, or you can use this to actually augment the process automations to auto approve or auto reject the application accordingly. So this is a process that actually that can enable a bank to provide an instant loans approval process. Anything which is very strong AAA customers, you can actually automate the approval automatically. Anything which is very poor, which is bottom line customers, you probably can actually reject them. So with the automations of these two categories, it helps you to actually reduce your human labor cost by improving your productivity and the customer's response time at the same time. Anything scoring in between, maybe you can pass it to a human credit officers for second recommendations. So this is a typical process improvement over the loans applications credit underwriting process. Okay, and for many of the buy now pay later projects, because they have very strong input and data sources that can actually justify the credit scoring, they can even go into the extreme that they can actually do the instant approval or rejection or counter offer with next best amount based on the data that they collected from their platforms. And this platform, the data can come from a wealth of the partners within the ecosystem. Okay. Moving forwards, okay, AI is going into the mainstream in the Asia Pacific. Okay, based on the IDC's predictions, okay, 50% of banks will enhance their rule-based AML with the AI models. Okay, and next is in the personalizations, where 40% of banks will embrace hyper-personalizations customer experience by 2024. And 50% of tier 1 banks will leverage clouds for their data analytics operations. And the last prediction is where 75% of consumers across all channels will try instant finance options, okay, for the buy now, pay later. When coming into the AI strategies, it is different across different channels. For front office, banks are focusing on customer experience. So typically, we are implementing chatbots, voice bots, or customer support portals, improving the personal financial management, putting in a hyper-personalization customer experience in the front office. Okay, this is improving the customer acquisitions, improving the customer satisfaction, improving the ability to actually do the digital marketing and cross-selling and product recommendation, and at the same time reducing the cost. When we look into the strategy for the middle office is where KYC and anti-money laundering, where KYC used to be very manual, which it can be fully automated. And anti-money laundering is, as what we shared earlier, which with the use of AI-powered anti-money laundering systems, you will get the benefits of reducing risk, reducing cost, and reducing time. Okay. When it comes to back office, okay, we are focusing on many of the back office operational improvements. One of it is actually focusing on the credit underwriting, where this is a major benefits that banks can actually achieve through the AI automations, okay, to reduce the credit risk, reduce costs, reduce the human error, and reduce the time for the processing. So overall, we are looking at actually how to actually contribute, generate this, contribute into the ROI for the bank to improve the cost to income's performance by implementing the AI in the right place for the right reasons. Okay. Now this comes to my last slide. Okay, we are your technology enabler that can help you in these 4 areas. So number 1, in the RPA and IPA, that allowing you to automate the heterogeneous and legacy systems. So with a minimal customization needed onto your existing systems. Second, on the embedded AI, our application comes with AI embedded within our applications. Just a few examples we quoted just now, or the system capabilities already built in within our applications. That brings you a AI-ready applications when you deploying our applications. Thirdly, AI Service Hub. This is where our AI-driven digital platform come with this AI Service Hub, which is a centralized AI model repository for you to train and build and deploy your AI model as an API that can be consumed by any of your application from any business, okay, whether using whichever solution or system for any vendors. Okay, it is neutral and system agnostic because it is actually available in the form of API. Okay, and lastly, we bring to you our data scientist talents pool to help you to build a custom AI models and resolve your problems, okay, with your unique problem within your organizations. So with that, okay, I thank you, the teams. Okay, I thank you, the audience, for actually having us here today. Okay, Roslan, back to you.
Thank you, Ike. Thank you. Thank you for the insight in the using AI, or how AI is transferring into banking operation. I think Ike clearly showed the trend. These are the trends that is happening in the industries. So if you are not doing it, your competitors are doing it, and that's the impact. And Ike also shows the reason why financial services or financial institutions need to look at AI seriously, because then it has a cost to income ratio. It's improve your efficiency, it reduce your risk, and it give a better customer experience. So this in this nowadays is more the competitive, or the competitors out there is trying to snatch away our customers. How do we retain them? How do we get new customers? and where this AI can be applied. Thank you, Ike. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for sharing with us. And our next speaker is Mr. Sunny Long. I think Mr. Sunny Long will share with us how are we going to capture data, cognitive data captured, and also how to solve the problem of paper in the process through intelligent automation. Because capturing data is the most important aspect of AI, because junk in is junk out. So with this, I hereby hand over the floor to Mr. Sunny Long. Sunny?
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So can you see my screen now? Okay, all right, cool.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, so let me let me move the floating meeting control. Okay, all right. So thank you for the introduction. So yeah, I mean my name is Sunny. Okay, coming from the Kofax. So I'm not pretty sure about how many of you have already heard the company called Kofax. Okay, but definitely Kofax is a US based company, and we are very focusing on what we call the process and also the imaging processing. So we are not a new company. Actually, we have a huge number of the customer base across different industry, and also in APAC, in Europe, in US as well. So then when we definitely got a lot of the recognition, okay, from different kind of the analysts. So those names that you see right now is part of our so-called the analyst, in which they give a very good comment or maybe the ranking. So our strength. So like I said, right, Kofax is very focusing on the automation, talking about the process and also the imaging as well. So in fact, we use, starting from many years ago, we use a relatively traditional way to automate the process, talking about human-centric flow or system flow. But right now, of course, okay, because of the revolution of the AI or machine learning. So right now, even from our product point of view, we also add a lot of so-called AI capability into the product as well. And of course, okay, another very important part is we also provide some analytics, okay, for those business user to have a little bit understanding about, what exactly, their KPI or performance as well. So that is our, I can say core features and also the components that we try to put into different product under the Kofax as well. So to start with, I would like to, show you very simple equations, right? I think right now, even for a junior students, right? So, I mean, from the primary school or high school, they may already have something just like E is equal to MC squared, right? From Einstein. So bring into the computer world, actually, anyway, forget about the complexity of the, different type of the system. But for almost, I can say all the system that involve, particularly talking about the commercial one, right? The formula is input processing output. Okay, that is a, I can say the 101, right? For those that you study computer in the day one. So in fact, even for a very complicated, project, talking about many years, lasts for many years, actually also follow the same formula. So if we put into another way to understand what exactly the people is doing, right? So that means we have some different, I can say the audience, right? The user that act as a touch, I mean, that they interact or interface with the touch point to do the data capturing, to do the data input. Then eventually those input will go through, some process in between, right? Okay, the one that you see in the middle. Okay, and then of course, okay, and then they will output to different system. It can be, a very simple database test file, or it can be very complicated system. Talk about billions of the, dollars. Wow. Okay, so I can say the only changes right now or focusing right now, especially for today's topic, right? We are more focusing on the middle part of this diagram. So that means the automation. Okay, so in the past, like I said, people will be trying to use the workflow, right, to automate some process. But right now, with the aim of the AI or machine learning, that part can be much more intelligent. Okay, so I'll share a little bit about that one later on as well. So, but of course, okay, that part, even I say is a processing, but you can see there's a huge number of the potential, technology involved, starting from, just like the very traditional workflow to the robot, to the communication content, electronic signing, that all can be, part of so-called the intelligent automation. Okay, and another level of the, technology right now. Okay, on top of what we have already know for a long time already. Okay, and in fact, it can bring you quite a lot of the business value. So that you can see, right, in terms of the internal employee experience and also the CX, definitely you can see it's a huge number of the increase. So that is a very important. right? Because there's quite a lot of the business implication behind if you make your employee happy, or definitely if your customer is satisfied with what you're doing, then definitely your business will definitely have a total different situation. So for Kofax, of course, okay, I share quite a lot of the different technology area, but to put a simple way, right? If you go to www.kofax.com, then you see there's huge number of the technology, more than 100 product. But in fact, okay, if we try to organize it or group into the couple of the different key area, I can say document intelligence is one part. Okay, because this is the input. We remember the formula, right? Input, processing, output. Document intelligence, the input, followed by the processing, right? So that is all something that you see on the right hand side. Okay, process orchestration, no code or low code. Okay, and then of course, okay, the ultimate goal is trying to bring different party all together. That is talking about the ecosystem integration as well. So all the product, okay, or I can say majority of product that Kofax provides group under either one of these sector that you see on this slide as well. And of course, okay, right now, most of them is driven by AI, RPA, no code, or some other very advanced technology. Okay, so for today, right, when we talk about this called the input, processing, output, the first sessions that I'm sharing right now will be more focusing on the intelligent data capture, the qualitative data capture. Okay, and then of course, okay, later on the second part, that's the another 10 minutes that I'm more focusing on the processing that I also shared with you before about how we can position that part, and also why we need to make some changes on top of what we are doing right now. Okay, all right, so let's start with the document intelligence. Okay, so if you're coming from the document background, then no doubt, okay, you may already heard about these three terms: structured document, semi-structural, and also unstructured. So what does it mean? Structured document means that you know what exactly the data position, are located. You can very easily identify what you want. Say for example, passport, definitely if you're talking about a US passport, then you definitely know where is the name, where is the the birth, day of the birth, whatever, right? But think about a invoice. We understand what exactly invoice, right? Invoice supposed to have the type, the shipping address, PO number that generate the invoice or whatever, right? And also the line item, the grand total or VAT, depends on which country that the invoice is coming from, right? So, but the problem is, okay, the supplier A may have a different layout compared with the supplier B, because supplier A maybe their logo is positioned on top left, right? And supplier B may be somewhere on the top right rather than top left. And then the grand total may be also put into the different area, right? Although we know what exactly invoice, but we cannot really tell what exactly or where are they. Okay, so this is what we call the semi-structure. Okay, and then the last one is unstructured. That means, okay, we have no clues what exactly the data is, and also we don't know where they are. Just like say for example, maybe a business letter, or maybe a offering letter from HR, or a contract, right? So we understand the context, okay, but we don't understand what exactly it tried to include. Okay, so that is what we call the unstructured. There's no way for us to easy to identify where and what data. So, but unfortunately, in this world, right, regardless whether you're talking about the physical image, physical paper, or maybe talking about the digital one, all the data will be unstructured. Okay, or maybe can say majority of the data will be unstructured by 2025. It's huge. Okay, so that means, okay, like I said, right, if it's a structured data, or maybe it's a semi-structured, it's really very easy for you to extract the related information or qualitative view. But it's unstructured, then that means, okay, you need to have some intelligence, just like for a human, right? I give you a contract, then maybe you would like to know, okay, what was exactly the terms? Okay, where are they? Then that means, okay, you need to have much more intelligent to understand what is the meaning of the terms before you can extract that part as well. So new concept, but it also, it's not really completely leveraging all everything. I can say not everything is new. It still need to rely on some traditional technology. So if you're talking about data extraction, particularly if you're starting with an image from scanner, from fax machine, then the first step will be OCR, right? So OCR is the thing that you need to take care. Okay, and that part definitely in Kofax we also have the solution on that one. Okay, and then of course, okay, we also have a couple of the different kind of the section. Okay, different kind of the features that you may consider to involve in the so-called extraction, maybe barcode decoding, or maybe a tabular data, just like the invoice line item, right? Or maybe a typical data field, or even maybe some data field will be looked up from somewhere, okay, maybe database, whatever, or even maybe what we call the regional data. So that means, okay, the logo may be located somewhere, then below this logo, that will be the company name. And also some of them, if you would like to extract the data correctly, it may need to write some logic. Okay, depends on, some other data field that you identify from the document as well. Okay, so this is some things that you may encounter as a part of your data extraction process. It's not easy. Okay, even when you talk about the data, the tabular data, right? It may be overflow. That means, okay, it may be spanned across more than one pages. Then how easy that you can really understand whether it's stick on the one single page to contain all the data, the tabular data, or it will be spanned across a 5-page, 6-page. So that means it still need to have some intelligence, what we call the page separator as well. So then of course, okay, if we try to understand what is the, how AI help you. So for the left-hand side, it's not really more on the AI part. That is just like acquisition. Of course, you have some AI, because think about, if you try to capture the image from a mobile phone, then, is there any AI technology to optimize the image to make it much more look better? Similarly, right? Particularly in the understanding stage, that is you see on the middle part, right? The huge number of the application of the AI to assist you to capture the right data, to extract the right data. Talking about document classification. Okay, how do you know what type of the document that you give it to us? Is it utility bill, contract, or invoice, PO, or bill of lading, or letter of credit? Okay, and then of course, okay, like I said, right, you still need to have some image perfection to optimize for the OSL process so that it can increase the accuracy when you do the data extraction as well. And of course, some of the situation maybe you also need to understand the context and also the sentiment so that you can do something further. Okay, that's what we call the natural language processing based on the context of the document. And then of course, okay, other than that, you also need to what we call the validation to verify whether the data that you extract will have a sufficient or high confidence that you can just submit back to the back end directly, or it need to involve some human process in between as well. And then of course, at the back end, once you have already extracted data, in general, this is just like the first step. Then you pass it to the automation stage that I will cover in the next section as well. So I can say, right, there's no any so-called industry specific use case. Almost heavy industry can really use this kind of the solution. Okay, even right now you can see, right, for the banking side, the loan processing, customer onboarding, invoice processing, or some other just like the probably maybe bank statement processing, whatever, right, King's processing in the FSI space, they also need all those. Okay, you cannot skip any one of them. It will be end-to-end process driven by some AI and also non-AI as well. And the industry can be a banking or inference, okay, or even maybe more than that as well. Okay, all right. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of the story that I can share. But if we try to put it in, or maybe we can to make it as a common denominator, right, for all those use cases that we see. Okay, from a technology point of view, that will be the common pattern on how we can make the data capturing or extraction to be much more intelligent, and also what is the flow. So again, right, to start with the acquisition. Okay, that was the first stage. Okay, and then of course, after that, that will be some machine learning process to do the document classification, followed by the separation of the page, followed by the OCR, followed by the data extraction. Okay, but there's nothing that can give you 100% correct all the time. Maybe there's some error in OCR, or even maybe AI. I never say AI will be 100% correct. Okay, particularly, AI still need to have a much more training, and also even you do quite a lot of the intensive training, but still it maybe have a 0.1 or 0.1% of the error. So that means, okay, for the data extraction process, you still need to have some mechanism to ensure that the data will be, or at least have this high confidence that you believe it can be commit to the SOR. I mean, the source of record directly, or the pass it to the next workflow. So so that means, okay, this is some human process in between based on the confidence score that you capture from the data, or maybe from the OSR as well. Okay, so that in general, this is the common flow. And then of course, okay, for Kofax, definitely, okay, we have already provided a solution for each of the stage that you see from this so-called the typical pattern of the intelligent data capture, not process. Just talk about the data capture as well. So that means it's not really something that you think so simple, but it's not really something that you think so complicated. Depends on which solution that you're using and in what ways that you can architect the solution into your use case as well. So hopefully you can get some idea about what is intelligent data capture or the qualitative data capture, plus how it will fit into your overall process. And then right now, we move it to the next topic. That actually is also quite aligned with what we discussed before. If you remember, right, when I highlight this diagram, right, the ones that we just briefly mentioned is the ones that you see on the left hand side, right? But we also have something that we see on the right hand side, that is process orchestration. Again, we are not trying to let you know about how you can build the flow, because it's already talking about a very traditional technology, but we are trying to see how AI will bring additional value to the overall business flow. So that's what we would like to share. Again, there's no any industry specific product or solutions coming from Kofax, but we do quite a lot of the use case across multiple industry, and there's quite a lot of the case that is almost quite always asked by the customer. So let's say, for example, in the banking side, we always heard a lot of people talk about how I can help or facilitate the customer onboarding, or as a part of the loan origination, then how I can check the bank statement or the address proof. And also, if you would like to open an account, then how I can do everything digitally rather than just sign the signature, what we call to put the wet signature. So in Kofax, actually, again, right, we have many solutions on that space. But in general, today what I try to introduce is only two different solutions or product that will be sitting in this so-called intelligent automation. The first one is RPA. So RPA, I think, is not really a new terms, but the reasons why we have RPA, because it's trying to automate something without really need to make a big changes on your own existing system, but you try to use the AI to make it much more effective and also much more smart. So that is the basic concept of the robotic process automation. And in Kofax, we deploy quite a lot of the RPA solution in the top 10 global bank as well. And then that is used to try to connect or automate some process that will involve the core banking mainframe, Citrix or something like that as well. And of course, again, the process can be very I can say it's a front office or mid office or maybe back office as well, just like treasury or maybe back end or open account opening as well. And in general, the typical life cycle to deploy a bot on a bank, it can be very short. Say for example 6 months, that can deploy 80 robots. As long as you follow the best practice and also understand what exactly you want to achieve, then in general it's quite the success rate is very high and also very effective as well. So I put an example right now. Say for example, I just pick consumer loan. So right now, of course, I don't want to share a little bit more on the robotic process automation, because that would be more related to the features talk or some other way of engineering. But what I would like to highlight right now is talking about even for some of the very old style process flow, just like signature. If you withdraw the money, you may need to have some wet signature, right? Or even right now, if you try to apply something, you still need to have some electronic signature or digital signature, or maybe email signature, whatever. But right now I'm focusing on the electronic signature. So again, right, so let's say for example you apply something, maybe the financial product, whatever, right? Typically you have a sales key, analysis the product, recommend the product, you click off or you check out the process, right? And then you apply, fill in the information. Then at the end of the whole flow, right, in general, you will consent the terms and condition followed by a signature, the signing process, right? In the past, probably maybe you just give a blank screen, for the user to sign the name using the stylus or finger. But that's not really very strong enough. Although that will be almost mirror to what we are doing, in a very old way. That means that we keep the signature into the, the paper record in the bank, and then they use the, DICOM or whatever to scan it, and then to archive it as well, right? And then whenever people would like to withdraw money, they compare the signature and then say, oh yeah, it looks like, all right, I give the money to you. But the problem is, it's not really very strong. So when we talk about the year signature, what was the, mean, what's the relationship with the AI, or how it will be correlated to the topic that I mentioned today, right? Intelligent process. Because if you make this one smart, then the whole process will be much more robust and also automate. So the ones that we provide is when we try to do the electronic signature, is a biometric. So that means, okay, when you sign the signature on your digital device, we are not only capturing the shape, we are also capturing the biometric information, talking about the speed, the velocity of the sign, the way that how you sign, okay, and also the pressure point. Maybe you press hardly, right, for some points when you sign. So this biometric information very hard to detect. Okay, if you have some people just looking at how you sign, right? So, but this point will be very strong evidence, right? When there's some argument, because whenever you sign, you almost use it the same way to sign. So if you compare all those invisible, talking about the biometric information, then you can definitely, to do a comparison, and then you can make it happen as well. Okay, to validate whether it's a right person or the original, the same people that is signed. So that is how we can also try to virtualize some so-called the digital signing process. Okay, and this is just some technical, insight about what I share with you. It's a little bit technical. Okay, acceleration, speed, pressure, whatever. But that is the technology behind waveform, analysis. Everything will be done by the AI as well. Okay, then even very common use case is try to capturing the bank statement. Again, like I said, right, bank statement can be used in many scenarios to apply utility bill, or even maybe to apply the loan. So that means, okay, you would like to find a way to see how you can capture the bank statement data correctly. But again, either you only confine, I only support all those bank statements from this couple of the bank, or maybe, you as a part of your process, right, you may open up, the people to submit the bank statement from different bank, even including those coming from overseas as well, right? So the problem is, okay, how you can really capture those relevant information from the bank statement, and how you can work together with some other process as a part of, say, for example, the eKYC process that will involve the AML, fraud detection, or maybe whatever as well. So this is why, in Kofax we also have subscribed the similar architecture. That is what we provide. Okay, so we are not only just talking about the capturing part, but we also provide a platform that is trying to leveraging the traditional workflow plus the RPA plus some other analytic through the AI will give you some information. So so this is a typical flow that what we talk about the intelligent data capture, right? So that means, okay, in intelligent automation, start with the capturing stage, okay, on physical document or electronic document from different channel, okay, mobile phone scanner, whatever, right? Then you do the document identification, okay, to see whether it's authentic or not as well. Okay, and then you may also involve the data extraction after that. That will be something that I shared with you in the last session, and then to do the data validation. And the most important is after you do the data extraction, okay, may or may not go through the manual verification process, but eventually, right, you'll pass it to the downstream. So the downstream, like I said, right, so if you're talking about, okay, maybe let me flip to this one first. If you're talking about an account opening, right, along with the bank statement, then maybe you also need to check with to see whether this one is a eligible person, okay, to open an account, because maybe he's being sanctioned or by some other government, or maybe it's a terrorist, so that you cannot open an account or something like this as well. Or even maybe if you would like to use it to prove your employment record or income, right? Then maybe you need to make an API call to some other external party as well, or credit rating, bureau. So that means all this kind of thing as a part of the account opening process, it involves quite a lot of the thing. So the best way to tackle this one, starting from the capturing, of course, this is what we call the intelligent data capture. But after that, all those so-called the web service integration API, everything can be automated by using robot, so that it will come back to RPA. Okay, and then of course, okay, once you have already go through this so-called the real-time validation, and then you are comfortable, with the decision coming from those systems, right? Then the final one, like I said, will be coming back to the E side. That again is the AI part as well. RPA is AI, E side is also AI. So there's some screenshot that illustrate the concept, right? That we really put, in one of our client. Okay, so you can see this is the screen in which you can validate the data that is captured, okay, from different kind of the credit card statement, bank statement. Okay, and then that's for validation. Okay, you can see, how the data is extracted from where, and then you can modify it, and then it can just retrain the AI engine if you make any correction as well. And then of course, okay, after that you can also do further validation by using, you know, a tabular data format, or we format in the sense that it will be fit into your use case as well. Okay, and then of course, okay, the last step will be it will pass it back to the back end, but that's for only for technical people, right? To see the activity, talking about, you know, the output JSON. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much okay from my end, you know, about these two kind of the, you know, intelligent data capture plus the automation process.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you. Thank you for the insight in the data capture and also the automation process. I think the technology has evolved. It's not just merely photocopy or scanning the documents, but now AI is being used to actually analyze whether the documents are genuine, especially on the signature part, where it identified the highest point and also the flow and also the speed of the signature. So that will eliminate risk, that will eliminate fraud. The data is smart enough to do that. Now, I think some of the audience is interested. So now, okay, I've seen both of you. I've seen from EK, I've seen from Sunny, the sharing in this webinar, what AI can do in terms of data, what AI can do in terms of AI. How do I proceed with this? What do I do? Where do I go? EK, maybe you want to take this first. Do I contact you all? How is the consultation? What's going to happen?
Okay. Thank you, Roslan. I think you all have our contacts. Okay, it's a marketing@infopro.com.my. So for our existing customers, please do engage our account managers. Okay, if you have any interest in this area, we will follow up with you. For any of the newcomers here, okay, we will welcome you, and then please drop us a note via the emails. Okay, so we will actually reply to you personally. If you have any questions, please drop into the questionnaire here. So we will follow up with you after the event. Okay.
Okay, thank you, EK. I think what EK is sharing that is that if you are interested, if you want to know, let's say I want to go around, I want to go with this flow. I want to know what are the things involved, what can I do for my banks, what I can do for my financial institutions. Rather than cracking your head alone, rather than thinking about it with your IT team and working in isolation or working in alone. I think EK is offering his services. InfoPro, I think, is open to any of you together with Kofax. Yeah, Sunny, yeah? I think we are open to have that discussion where there is no, what do you call that? There is no obligation, I think, from InfoPro and Kofax. I think we are more than happy to spend the time with you to understand your business, to understand your business need, your pain point, and so what is needed to improve that, whether it's in documents or whether in capturing customers' experience or serving better customer experience, or even in your loan processing. Because I think some of the client, Sunny mentioned, the industries is not limited only to financial institutions. We have, I think in Sunny case, they have insurance company, they have banking, they have other industries as well. And I'm sure from InfoPro as well, we have all this, where we are not limited to only a financial solution. Yeah, we are not only limited to financial institution. We are more than happy because we have clients who are not a bank, but also a financial institution, which offer a specific products, a specific financing, a specific loans, or a specific business. Yeah. And I think we are more than happy. I think InfoPro and Kofax is more than happy to sit down. If you are in, I mean, I guess because Kofax is in Hong Kong, InfoPro is in Kuala Lumpur. So whether you are in, if to face, if you are not in Kuala Lumpur, not in Hong Kong, I think that's quite impossible. But I guess with technology and with the technology, we can do it online. So not an issue. Drop us a line. Now there is a request among the audience that they wanted a copy of the slides. My suggestion is that can you email us quickly, and we'll be more than happy to share with you the presentation slides. Yeah, just email to us. Again, indicate your names and which company you are from. We are more than happy to share that with you through emails. Yeah. Now the floor is open to the Q&A. If you have any questions, we are supposed to finish at about 4 o'clock, so we still have about 15 minutes. So we are open to questions. Regardless, I think I saw some audience from Indonesia. I saw some audience from Thailand, from Philippines. I think I might miss some countries, but I saw some audience from that particular country. So I think if we have I think Kofax and INFOPRO, do you have any, how do we at Thailand, at Indonesia, or at other countries communicate with you beside emails? Do you have a reps over that particular countries? Maybe Sunny, do you have anyone else in other countries, in other Southeast Asian countries?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we definitely have a office in Singapore. Okay, so in which I almost spend half of my time in Singapore as well. Okay, but of course, okay, depends on the the situation. But anyway, so we have the office in we have the people on the ground in Thailand. Okay, we also have the office in Singapore. Okay, in Hong Kong. Actually, we also have some folks in Malaysia, but depends on the product. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so there's pretty much that we have a presence, but in general, right, we also support quite a lot of the client in different part of the ASEAN. Okay, even some of them maybe talk about Cambodia, Vietnam, and so forth as well. So I mean, geographical, distance is not really a big issue.
It's not a limitation anymore. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
as long as you can write a chat to us, then I'm happy to assist you wherever where you are.
Okay. I think EK, I think for INFOPRO, I think it's the same thing. Country location wise, it's not a limitation. I think we have partners. INFOPRO have partners all over the country, so that's not an issue. But we can go even direct through the through Kofax Hong Kong or through INFOPRO Kuala Lumpur, where we can then take this on and then refer you to the respective partners if need be, or else we can actually INFOPRO and Kofax can take you on board directly from Hong Kong and from Malaysia. Now, there is a question here. Are you guys doing process orchestration from technical documentation for the low-code business process? So I think, Sunny, this is probably meant for you.
Yes, definitely. So we do have a, okay, again, I'm putting this here, right? In Kofax, because today I don't want to make so features specific for the whole conversation or the whole session. So I would like to make it as a idea concept or the best practice and use case sharing, right? But definitely, if you really have a chance to go into Kofax website, you'll find we have a more than 100 product, and you definitely see quite a lot of the product is also focusing on the data extraction. So to most of people, they cannot really tell what's the difference among all those products. But you're right, some of the product may be very specific code for no code. Some of them will be more for the invoice processing. Some of them will be for on-perm. Some of the very generic one, horizontal one. So huge. So yeah, you're right. No code is one of the ways that you can also try to use it, to do the data extraction on the technical document or on technical document as well. Yeah, definitely yes. We have a couple of the solution and also product on that side. So this is why we need to understand more about your situation and then to identify what is the best way and also what is the right product.
Okay, we have another question. Yes, Mr. Watson from Thailand. You'd like to get a copy of presentation for both Vicky and Sunny? Yes, we could email that to you. Okay, we'll pick up your email from here, owasan@hotmail.com. Okay, we'll pick it up and we'll send over the email to you or the presentation slide to you. Okay, right. Any other questions? I think as leaders in the financial institution, it's quite worrisome because in about 2025, that's another 2 years, 3 years down the road, where 80% of the documents is unstructured. Yeah, yes, Ania. So meaning if I'm the financial institution leaders, I have to spend more on how to capture this data manually, how to make sure data is being captured accurately, and how can I use this data to actually work for me. Yeah, because if it's unstructured, then it'll be cluttered, it'll be everywhere. The documents or the data in that documentation will be everywhere, and it's prone to human error, and it's prone to a lot of things. So your operating costs will increase. Right, okay. Let's see. Do we have any other questions from the audience? Okay, May, just to remind you, please drop us your email, May. We'll pick it up to respond to you on the presentation slide. Right. Any other questions? We are open to question and answers. Maybe while waiting for the Q&A to come in, since we have about another 10 minutes to go. EK, maybe is there additional thing that you want to add on to convince the financial institution leaders to actually, hey, I want to convert into this AI. I used to think about it. I think that's not possible, but after seeing your presentation, after seeing both EK and Sunny presentation, this is what I want, and anything else that you want to add on? Why is it so critical for me to have this?
Okay, maybe just to share a little bit more on some of the concerns that many banks will have, right? They thought that AI is something like a rocket science that is very expensive and very complicated to be implemented, right? But it is not the case. With the actual evolvement of the technologies and also the tools in the market, you realize that implementing a AI solution is not that complicated. Okay, take it for examples, when you actually procure a new anti-money laundering system, that it already comes together with AI within the systems. So those are what we call embedded AI. That when it comes into the modern application, we already engineer it together with AI. But of course, sometimes AI is not one size fits all. Okay, when we go to every different banks, we need to actually bring our data scientists who comes in to leverage on your data to calibrate, so retrain our model accordingly sometimes. Okay, this is to helping you to optimize the AI efficiencies that can actually perform well within your defined this data. Okay, because your data demographic could be different from our sampling data or other customers' data. So it works differently from one customer to another, but the concept is very similar. When we build applications, we always think, how can I leverage AI for certain automations or recommendations or whatever output that I can generate from the AI to become an input for my actually these programmatic processes, right? So that process is where we can come in, we can discuss with you and advise you how you can implement the AI in a more seamless manner. Okay, leave the complications to us. Okay, our data engineers, data scientists will take care of the complexity. So you only deal with the layman, simple requirements. Pass to us, share with us your problem statements, areas that you think you can improve, or you are running out of use cases, you have no idea what you can do. We can suggest to you which areas can bring value improvement to you and in what forms. Normally, okay, we can actually even partner with someone who can do some POCs to show you, okay, the potential benefits of the AI. Take for instance, by implementing robotic process automations, you can easily reduce your labor cost because you do not need a big team of actually human to actually perform this task. You can reduce 2 or 3 human headcounts. Okay, where the robot will actually be more effective. Okay, can run 24/7. Okay, can provide you the instant response. So it gives you all sorts of these quantitative benefits that you can measure according to your ROI. So in the short term, you already can actually achieve a cost savings, and this is not an investment or a cost spending, but I would see is actually cost saving for you, turning your cost center into a profit center by lowering your cost in operations. So that is how you should actually take it further. Okay, AI is also not one size fits all, that you just put it there, then everything can be AI integrated. Okay, but actually we have to carefully design and see how you can use it, not only within one application. The same AI, let's say for instance, if I build a product recommendation, customer 360 analysis and recommendations, okay, that can be used by your call center, that can be used by your mobile banking, that can be used by your this relationship manager over the counter. So the same AI, you just build it once and then you can maximize the reusability. Then you can implement it across different touch points or different applications for very similar purpose. So that is the objective of actually having an enterprise AI architecture where you can actually host and reuse and share all these components to all the business units or business lines. Okay.
I think that's a good point, okay, especially on the sharing, on the bringing in the expertise to the financial institution, because in most cases the financial institution is quite restrict in giving out information, especially their pain points, their current systems, their current existing systems. So I think this is very important for us to to even for INFOPRO and even for Kofax to understand what is the current system that is available, what is the paper, how can both INFOPRO and Kofax work with your current system to actually improve the AI. So information between I think INFOPRO, Kofax, and the financial institution must be free flow. If let's say the banks is worried that INFOPRO and Kofax is going to leak out the information, I think a non-disclosure agreement can actually be signed off between three parties to actually protect each other, so that whatever information I think INFOPRO and Kofax receive will not be revealed to any other third party. Yeah, I think we have another question here. I'm not sure whether this is EK or addressed to EK or Sunny. The question is, AI is definitely very expensive to train the models, especially in ML. So I think just wanted to know why you say AI or ML as a replacement. Is it data models with combination of rule-based engines or just ML and DL? I think maybe EK, you want to pick this up?
Okay. As I mentioned, implementing an AI is not that difficult because leave it to the experts like us. So to the data scientists, again, the process to train and to create the AI model is very standard. Okay, it takes you typically, it can be as fast as within 1 to 2 weeks, or maybe to 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, so it depends on how complicated is the issues that we're trying to resolve. Okay, by being able to access to your issues and problem statements, and also some of your sample data, so we will be able to run through certain testing using certain models, and then we will be able to present to you how AI can effectively addressing your problem. I'll give you for example, in the space of AI credit scoring, okay, we are able to use the bank's historical data, okay, to produce or to create a AI credit scoring. And this AI credit scoring, we can use it to test against your past maybe 1 or 2 months, or maybe we can take a sample data from your historical records, maybe 100 customers' accounts for the past 2 years as a sample data, that to prove to you, based on this sample data, our AI model, what is the accuracies of the AI models in actually doing this. And this entire process, because we already built in the AI credit scoring model in our applications, it's just that the models or the actual algorithm that we use could be actually slightly different from banks, one bank to another. So in order for us to come in to actually recalibrate it, right, it only takes you probably within 1 to 2 weeks time. Then we can get back to you recommendations, a POC to show you how this data is going to work for you and how the model can make use of your data. And only if you're satisfied, then we can go into the next step for the implementations to bring this in actually, and then we can actually do a after the implementation, of course, you will do a regular updates, retraining on your model from time to time. So in the span of maybe 6 months or half yearly or yearly, so you review and then revisit your models to make sure that it is optimized, because your data characteristic may be changed over time. Okay, but as I mentioned earlier, there is another way of unsupervised AI, so which we are not so recommend in the way, because unsupervised is very dangerous in the way that it may go towards some negative extremes that is actually unfavorable to a bank, especially bank is highly regulated. Okay, so everything it must be carefully planned and carefully trained for now. But eventually, I think the banks will go into adopting the adaptive AI, like what Gartner just mentioned earlier. But I think as far as banking per se, so we are still more conservative and make sure that we do things correctly, even with the implementation of AI. Okay.
Thank you, EK. Thank you for sharing. I think in short, I think the banks, I think both INFOPRO and Kofax is were willing to come in and actually work and bring in the data scientists and to understand the data from the bank and come out with a sample or come out with a model that the bank can actually apply in their business. However, this require cooperation from the bank. This require data from the financial institution or from the bank to be shared with both INFOPRO and Kofax, so that the models that will be presented to the banks or to the financial institution is accurate, and also is reflective of the bank's issues at the moment. Because in most of the times, I think Kofax and INFOPRO is having a challenge where the bank does not willing to share data, and the bank say, I want this. So it's a bit difficult. It's about sharing information. It's about I think both INFOPRO and Kofax coming in as a consultant. I think no obligation in terms of cost, but to actually understand and helps, because I think once the financial institution is comfortable and later on see the as EK say, the POC or the results of the data analytics, the data captured, the usage of data in money laundering, in direct processing, loan processing, all these sort of things, I think the bank will appreciate the benefits of AI, because as it is, if it's a one-way communication, that's a bit difficult for you to taste what is the flavor and what is the spices in it, so that the banks and the financial institution can be more effectively. Okay, time is running out. We have another question, I think. Oh no, we have answered that question. So we're just waiting for one more question. If there's any other question, if not, then I think we have to end the webinar for today here. And then let me just share with you again the context. Share with you where can you contact us. Okay, this is our details. This is INFOPRO. Okay, can you see? Yep, this is where our website is, www.infopro.com.my, and the email is at marketing@infopro.com.my. Our local Malaysian phone number. Look us on the website. There is also an email there in our website. If there is query, mention to us whatever your pinpoint, whatever you need to know. I think INFOPRO is more than happy to accommodate, and to even in the event that we need to link up with partners such as Kofax or any other partners with regard to a different solution, we'll be more than happy to do this. And again, bear in mind, there is no obligation to the financial institution to have a conversation with us, so that we can help you. I think both Kofax and INFOPRO have many years experience in this industry, and many hundreds of clients that is using our solution. So in terms of the knowledge of again the solution, the implementation, the projects, the integration, and all that, I think both EK and Sunny Leong, this is their diet every day. Yeah, this is their what they eat every day, in out, like wake up only talk about solutions, sleeping is talk about solutions. So please, please, audience out there, if you have any question at all, whether it's related to data, whether it's related to AI, whether you have a pain point that is really bugging you and say, I need to sort this out. Yes, each financial institution have their IT team. IT team have limitation. Well, I think both INFOPRO and Kofax have the experience. Do drop us an email. We'd be more than happy to accommodate. We'd be more than happy to have if not face-to-face conversation, we have a Zoom conversation or Skype conversation. I think the border is now truly limitless. There is no border anymore. We can go to any part. We have clients as far as Afghanistan. We have clients as far as China. That's something. So border is no longer a barrier. Yeah, do feel free to drop us again. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this webinar. I think at the end of this webinar, I think once we shut down this webinar camera, this webinar live, there is a Q&A, there is a feedback survey that is required. We need your support on this so that we can improve our future webinar. Which area we can do better, and which area that you wanted to see. Please feel free, accommodate us on this one, fill up the survey and revert to us. Yeah. With that, I wish you all a very good day. Thank you everyone for coming in. Thank you everyone for signing in for our webinar. I hope today's webinar have, if not 100%, but have give you a percentage of confidence. Yep, I need to know more about this AI. Yep. Especially with Sunny on the signature. Very impressed on the signature, because I thought it's only available in CSI, but now it's a real thing where you can see the high points, the speeds, and all that sort of things. Previously, just scanning document, matching it, scan document, match it with the sample documents that we have in the bank. But now I can see the flow of the ink. I can see where is the speed flow and all that. So that's truly amazing. So the CSI, what we see on TV is now coming live to the world, to the organization, and I think we can apply this to our daily, day-to-day in our financial institution, in our industries. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much. Hope to see you again in our future webinar. Right? Take care and stay healthy. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.